We are going to have someone on Zoom. I don't know if they're here. Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started then. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Transit Advisory Committee. We would like to have an approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
So move.
So
Second.
Okay. As we get moving along here, we have, I believe we have Berta is going to be joining us. We'll let them come on first and give an update.
Do you want to approve the minutes first from
Oh,
everybody? We did
let's
the
go
first
ahead and
and
approve
second.
the
Let's
minutes.
approve.
Yes, sorry.
Nope, that's all right. That's okay. So all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
And if, who would bring Berta on? You would, Joe?
No, that'd be
They do? Okay.
other.
Hi, Berta.
Hi. Hi, I'm representing both Jill and myself today. So today is the 16th and tomorrow is the ad deadline for the community guide. If you want, I can show people the ad if you want me to share my screen.
Yes.
I will do that. All right.
So this is going in the visitor guide that will be available all year long.
Yes.
So we felt it was real important for the Herman to be in there. I believe it's a full-page ad, right, Berta, we decided
Yeah.
on?
Yep, full page ad. That way it gets that attention and it gives you space for the map. You talked about wanting the times and so trying to fit that in there. And I can probably zoom in a little bit here.
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah, so that you can see. And I'll scroll down here. So the map is there. And when it's printed out, you'll be able to see it'll say the stop numbers are 1 through 19. And this has the expanded route with the construction done over by that Ridgeway on, I think that's 23rd Street. And so we have times across here. But to have this, we want to put the context so that we know like what the days of service. If we have this, I think it's important to say what the days of service are, like start and end time, if there's any break or not. Otherwise, it's people don't know, well, when does this start? But,
Right.
Have we started
can
the
always have
expanded
this-
route?
Not yet. No, we were going to start that when we start the new route times that we'll talk about today.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to point out on here is the QR code. So if we do change the route, people with a smartphone, correct, Berta, would be able to scan that QR code.
Yes. And I don't know if you guys have much experience with that, but it used to be like you had to have a special app to do a QR code. Now people just put their photo up there and the photo reads that, shows a website, and you just click on that website or click on the link and then it brings you right to the website. And this goes right to the City of New Ulm's webpage that has the information about the Herman Express.
And we thought that was important because this is going to be out for a whole year. And if the route changes, we wanted to make it relevant for visitors.
Yeah, so that's
a
what we
great
have.
idea to advertise in there.
Yeah, and I think the
And
ad looks really nice too.
Yeah, and for a visitor's guide, I think it's really appropriate to have the map in there so people can see, oh, hey, it goes downtown, it goes near these different points of interest. So that's that ad.
With the
Yeah.
added stop, it's going to be extremely difficult in winter driving to finish this loop in an hour.
That's, I think, the conversation we probably have to have today is what you've learned so far, what recommendations there might be, what the hours are going to be for sure, with an expectation to try it for a year, if we can, just because it is going to be published. And I think just to give people an opportunity to try it different seasons to see how it goes. So
Right.
if we are thinking we need to drop a stop or two, we should probably discuss that today so that we kind of have what the route would look like for next
Yeah.
year.
And we've asked Sarah to give us some input, and she's done that. So, because she's been the one,
Yeah.
boots behind on the ground. So,
So Berta, you'd need this information by tomorrow, is that correct?
Actually, if you can, because it's due tomorrow,
Oh, okay.
so I would
Okay.
like to be able to make those changes today so Pat can review it, make sure everything looks good before I send it.
Okay, so we'll make those decisions today at this meeting as to where we're at, so that that can get done.
Okay. And Pat, would you like me to stay on and just listen for that information, or do you want to follow up with an email?
I think I'll go ahead and follow up with an email, Berta, if that's okay.
Yep, that's a good use of time.
Did anyone have anything for Berta? Any questions or comments? We're going to be talking to the radio station, doing some ads with them. Jill was getting some things. The other thing that Jill and I were talking about is possibly doing some insulated bags. Right now with the Heartland, we have just regular grocery bags. We figured if we had the insulated bags as a promotional item, people getting off the bus or on the bus may be on a little bit longer. So if they had an insulated bag to keep things cool. The other thing Jill thought about, since we do have some marketing dollars, would be to get some like mini flashlights so they could maybe see the stops in the dark. Those are discussions we're still having and ongoing. So we do want to have some promotional type items. So those are other discussions we're having. So.
Well, have a good day. I look forward to hearing what the hours will be. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks, Berta.
Thanks, Britta.
So the next item up for discussion was we had to change the stop at St. Michael's. We were doing it like in an alley location, and the passengers asked us to not do that because they felt it was kind of unsafe to be crossing the alley with the hill there. So they asked for the stop to be at Smiley's Tavern on that corner, not in the bar itself, but it would be a place
Could
for
just wait in there.
they could wait in there. So that was a stop that was made. I know that Chris and I both took calls from a concerned citizen that lived there and was not real excited about having the stop in front of his house. So it was kind of a good idea, I think, to make that stop change. And it kind of came from passenger input from Sarah, and so.
Is that indicated correctly on the map that's listed here, or does that need to change?
We can look at that. I think it's still in the same, I mean, it's a half a block, so I don't know. But I can get with Berta. I never thought about that. We'll get that updated. The next item is our bus drivers are fully staffed. We've hired another part-time driver. He's actually a City of New Ulm police officer that works 3 10-hour, 12-hour days, and so he's looking for something on a part-time basis during the week. So we feel like he'd be a good member. Sorry, I'm breaking this news to you. But he was excited to join and have a little part-time job on his days off. So.
Does he still need to get his passenger endorsement, or is
He
out?
still does, yep. So we're a
Just the
little bit
passenger
away from,
endorsement?
yeah.
Okay,
mhm.
so
But
some
we
training.
found with Bob, it was a pretty quick process.
Okay.
We're pretty confident that the plan moving forward with the route, we've talked extensively. And what we're proposing to the group is to start the bus route at 7 in the morning, going till noon, and having that break again for 1 hour just because of staffing. It's the driver needs a break. And with without having to bring another person on for a short time. And then we would have the bus run then from 1 till 6 at night. So we have 5 hours in the morning and 5 hours in the afternoon, which I feel is pretty decent coverage. Sarah says people are understanding that the 12 to 1 break makes sense for them. We were going to do an 11 o'clock break, but she has a couple of people that get on at the 11 o'clock hour that need to be work by noon, and so we felt that was a good stopping time. And so
I'm hoping since we started that way that, people will just become accustomed to it. We know it's not the most ideal, it's very difficult with those hours and
Right.
staffing to fill it completely. So,
right. And then our Saturday hours, we're proposing from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we feel that by 10 o'clock, most of the stores are open. And so we felt that that was kind of a good time during the middle of the day to get people where they need to be, so.
What were those hours again, Pat?
10 to 2 on Saturday,
Thank you.
so starting at 10, ending at 2, so.
Sarah works a 10-hour day then.
She works an 8-hour day, so she, because right now her hours are from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. with a hour lunch break and then a half hour on either side with prepping and pre-trip and post-tripping the bus, and then she comes in the office and compiles these numbers for us and stuff, so,
So when the hours change, it'll be 2 drivers a day.
right,
She'll be relieved,
right,
you know, but she'll still start in the morning, have her lunch break, then she comes back. I
right,
think, or
and then she'll
whatever,
drive for a
and
couple
then she'll
hours,
drive
then,
a couple hours,
yep,
and then somebody else will replace her. So we will need 2 drivers a day
right,
when we extend the hours.
mm-hmm, yep. So is there any discussion or any?
When will this start?
We're proposing to start it December 5th. That's our tentative plan. We may have to adjust that a little bit after we do the schedule for December, but I do definitely want to get it started in December to get it kind of rolling off the ground because of the free rides. I guess that was something else Barb had brought up. Would you like to continue the free rides for a couple months into the winter time? Because winter is a slow time to be riding the bus, and we only do have to come up with the 5% match. So I don't think that'd be too difficult if we did the free rides, continue that for a couple months in 2023. If everyone is in agreement with that.
I think it's a good idea. We get some people that might not take it yet. The more people that get on there and ride it, the more they talk about it, the more we're going to have a
Right.
successful operation. So
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And if we do a little bit of more promotion and pushing it, I think that'd be something that we can work on, so.
I think we had hoped to have, 6 months or so in 2022, and of course that didn't work because of the,
Bus
bus driver issue
situation.
and so forth. So if the city's willing to take on that risk, like I said, it's a good time to do it because it's only a 5% match that the city has to do next year. And I guess, it's up to the city as to how long you might think you want to try to do that. I mean, because the advertisement that Berta has says $1 cash ride. So the question is, do we put that in there or do we put beginning a certain?
I think because it's a visitor guide, I think that needs to be in there because I don't want to, say it's a free ride because this thing is going to be out for all of 2023. We can just advertise it locally, that it's a free ride for however many months we decide as a group, and all our local advertising will do free rides, maybe
Yeah.
through March, or whatever, but,
But if you know when it's going to be, you could put that in the ad as say beginning, or free until this date or something. Could make a difference for visitors, otherwise for them to know
all right,
it's an option. I don't know. What are you thinking, Chris?
I was thinking probably April is when you probably start
start the free ride.
stop the free rides and start
So
the.
we could put that in the ad, is that what you'd
Yeah,
like?
I'd be fine with that.
Okay.
Free through the month of March.
Okay, we can do that.
that'd be kind of nice because then we'd have allowing during the winter months when it's really the roughest to get it around. So
Right. And then I want to share some of the things that Sarah shared with Nate and I. Also, you have your numbers in front of you, stops, that we're going to. And there's an extra copy for you. And I guess I just, she's letting us know where she's deviating from. She's deviated to Runnings, to Riverbend and to Raleigh. We do have a Riverbend group riding, I think, tomorrow, Friday, a group of students that they're getting kids acclimated to a bus service. So she's actually taking them out to Walmart. So that was kind of exciting. We went to the MVAC store. She took someone to the Holiday and then to the Green Mill in October. Then in November, looks like she did another runnings a couple times. She got someone to Human Services. I think she told us she dropped them off at the stoplight there, right? And then they just
I
walked
think
that
that's right.
block.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Pain and Center is that place where she dropped again, and the Dollar Tree, the gas station, 13 South in Minnesota, and then she also took someone to Kraft. So
Greenville's got quite a town there.
yeah, yeah. So that's kind of let you know where she was telling us that the number one stops are Sunset, Walmart, and Hy-Vee. Then she shared another little tidbit we thought was kind of cute, that one of the passengers told her that it stops within 19 of the bars in New Ulm. It's within a walking distance
Of 19 of the 22
bars in town. So definitely was not designed that way, but so we just thought that was kind of funny. This is what she shared with us. During the month of October, we had 174 riders. So far, 97. I've had some requests to deviate, and she's done so as far as since it worked out, since the request has been right near the route, which was what was advertised, that we would do that. She's had requests, and, you know, this is going to probably be ongoing, but these are just what she's going to share with us. The Senior Community Center, Garden Terrace, Colonial Land, Human Services, and the Rec Center. And she's kind of told them, you know, at some point we do plan to change the route, you know, if we ever get 2 buses. She has shared that with people that, you know, to keep requesting those stops. She talks about payments, that when we do start taking cash, because a lot of discussion about that, that they're going to feel like they need to drop a token instead of cash. And then she's asking about making the stops, change the signs for the stops. When we change the hours, we'll definitely do that, so we can reflect that. And she's been reaching out to the different apartment complexes and business in town and posting flyers. So she's been doing some legwork with that. She said she still has riders getting on the bus saying they didn't know about it. So maybe for marketing, we need to work on that a little bit more. And then she's asking about the bus being in the parade of lights. It sounds like that'd be something she'd be interested in doing. So probably not a bad idea. I'm not sure what that takes to, but we
I
can.
think you just have to sign up,
sign up, call the
Yeah.
chamber, and
Yeah,
get
call
some
the
lights
chamber
on the
and-
bus. And
pretty much.
okay. And then some other bullet points she has
It would be nice if we could get some riders on that
on
bus.
the bus with it. Never thought about that. Yeah. Yeah, we can work on that. Jeff from the street department, I'm not sure who he is, but has already contacted her to let her know that our route is not entirely on priority streets. Is there a map we could get of those priority streets? I would think that we're pretty darn close to being.
It's pretty close, but I know some of the smaller streets aren't going to be priority.
Yeah, I don't know of probably the one behind, going into the, behind the Hy-Vee, and that road probably is
Yeah,
not a
that-
priority for
no.
sure. And Sunset Avenue is probably not, so. So I think we're pretty close to that. Then she's kind of worried about cleaning and maintaining the stops this winter, such as Linderhof, Hillside, Oakwood, Herman Heights, MLC, and Highland Regency. We've talked, and I said, you know, once the route is more established and we have some sort of a concrete stop there, you know, which is what our hope is, that someday we'll get, you know, signs that'll be more permanent, and we'll have to make those decisions about who will be responsible for those stops, cleaning them and such. And then she's asking about a bench at Emerson Union, and again, I think we want to just kind of hold off on all that till we have a firm handle on it. And she also discusses here about the hour-long loop is tight right now. And then she talks about experiencing the first snowfall, slippery road conditions. She's concerned about adding the Trolloc stop until we get a second bus, or that we maybe drop some of the other stops. Because she's worried that, you know, we could get stopped by a train there too as we're coming down 23rd, and then you have to come up to the DMV. You'd be crossing the railroad tracks there, which we don't do on any of the stops right now. So, you know, if you get stopped by a train, that's really going to delay the whole situation. So I guess are we 100% set that we want to keep the Ridgeway and the Trolic Estate stop? Is that something we're 100% committed to? Are we okay if we kind of hold off on that? I know we kind of hoped we could start doing that once the road construction was done, but I think it presents a lot more issues than what, you know, I think we're being little,
Well, I don't know that we'll know until we try it.
right.
Would you have any recommendations based on so far, as far as dropping some of the current stops? Because I don't think we can add anything, but, you know, if we did add those, I think we'd have to drop a couple others. So are there any that so far you might say we probably don't need to go there?
She said nobody's really gotten on at the Oakwood Estate stop. That was, and it's kind of, well,
That surprises me.
as I'm looking there, I'm
She's
seeing
got 4 though.
4 of them. So
Unless she, did she mean Oak Hills?
Okay.
Oak Hills
Oak Hills
was
has
a
none in
stop that
October.
no one has gotten on it yet, and we kind of thought that. Cashwise and Aldi have been basically non-existent as well. She's been surprised by that, and I think those have to do with where we stop, you know. But again, if we pull in their lots, that's just going to slow us down even further, so.
You know, and maybe that's one of the things. So you look at New Oak Hills and New Ulm Medical Center. I mean, they're literally almost on the same property. I mean, they're fairly close, and it's that walking distance. You know, what I feel was, you know, because I did receive a couple calls for Garden Terrace too. I'm like, well, you can walk from Garden Terrace to Oak Hills.
Right.
You know, that's a close enough, you know, spot. And then to, you know, if you eliminate Oak Hills, then someone would just have to walk to the medical center, which again would probably suck in the winter, but
Right.
still.
Right.
You know,
And if they were on the bus and they wanted to get off at Garden Terrace, we could stop, you know,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Garden and just let them off. I'm just worried that are people going to want to walk down to Garden, you know, because that is kind of there's a little slope there,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, I get it.
And, you know, but if we had someone on the bus and they need to get off at Garden Terrace, we surely would stop there. You know, or if someone was standing on that corner,
Yeah.
you know, and was flagging the bus down, you know, wave their hand, she would stop and pick them up. So,
because Oak Hills probably saves you, you know, a minute or two, because
Right.
the next stop would be, you know, the medical center. So
right. Mm-hmm.
that might be one, because I think from what one rider.
Yeah,
from
one
Oak
rider
Hills.
in November, it looks like.
Yeah.
Oak Hills, yeah.
So if we eliminate that one, that'll give us a little time to get out to the to Trolic.
What on the other end of town, but we weren't going into the, I can't remember, the names just changed to the.
Sure, the mobile village, we'll just say, because it's
Right,
rural.
so we stopped there at all?
She's been stopping on the street.
On the street.
Just because of,
That isn't in this listing here.
it's
Estates.
Oakwood
Estates
Estates
now.
it's called.
Okay.
So 4 this month and 4 last month, it looks like at
Mm-hmm.
Oakwood Estates. And I just think the nice thing about the mobile home parks is that, you know, people there tend to be lower income, and those would be the individuals that
Mm-hmm.
could probably benefit from the transportation more than
Yeah.
some others. So I kind of hate to, and they're on such a end of town, like
Right.
Trolic Estates isn't really within walking distance of
Anything.
much.
No, it isn't,
For
because you're
people
not
to
going to
go
be able
to.
to carry bags of groceries that
Right,
far.
right.
It's not going to happen, I've tried it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So I really would hate to not be able to include the
Sure,
mobile home parks because of that.
right.
But I do
Okay.
understand it may mean having to cut out.
And I guess that's a good thing, is that we knew that this was going to be kind of fluid and we'd be, you know, changing things up. And so, you know, if we're eliminating Oak Hills is something we want to do, we can surely do that.
That one is used heavily by the Heartland.
Right.
Correct.
That's
Right.
their major.
And I think that will continue. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think the thought there was that if we, you know, if we were gonna catch people going to work maybe, because obviously I don't think a resident would walk to the corner there, to get the bus. So,
Do we do some of that now between 6 and 7?
yeah, yeah, we bring people to work there right now, in that 6 o'clock hour, 1 to 2.
They are
Yes.
desperate for employees, so any way we can accommodate them, it's good.
Yeah,
And looking at it too, you know, probably an unpopular, you know, maybe cutting just one of the downtown ones to just have one downtown stop that's more centrally located and people can just walk, because that'll get you some time as well, because you're not unloading and loading people twice in kind of the same general area.
yeah. I think the stop downtown, the one we're doing, it's by the picnic benches is what she's been doing. So it's the one right out here and it's the one like across from the Baccarat,
Okay.
or kitty corner from the Baccarat. It's that, on
100 South Minnesota
100
Street.
South Minnesota. And that kind of serves the city center folks because they wanted us to have a stop there, but that just wasn't very feasible with that being on the wrong side of the road and cars are always parked where supposedly there's a bus parking area there. Or,
Yeah.
but there's always a mail truck there or somebody delivering something there, and so so that's kind of why that stop is there. So those folks can just walk across the street and,
They've been pretty popular
yeah.
from the numbers it looks
yeah,
like, so.
yeah. And I guess I'm, want to be cognizant of the downtown businesses, that we service them as well as we can, so.
I wonder with the grocery stores, with Walmart, Aldi, and Cashwise all being out on that end of town, and I know there's lower numbers with Aldi and Cashwise, if maybe we do one of those and not both, or would that be
Aldi by request.
Yeah, we could do that.
Aldi and Cashwise by request, yeah.
We did research on some neighboring systems, and Wasika does that with some other second-tier stops. It has to be called in an hour before the loop will occur, so that the driver knows that they have to go to
Get over to that
a
one.
stop. That doesn't happen every hour.
So you have to call into dispatch then.
Yeah.
We really don't have a lot of data so far with people being new to the route and everything. And like I look at Aldi and Cashwise because I had the same idea, where it's 3 both for all of 1 month, but then already this month each has 3 already too. And maybe it is some of where people start to understand where the bus is going, that it gets, so I hate to make decisions based on a month and a half where people are just learning the route too. But yeah, I do understand the need to cut so we can add.
Right, yeah.
With Hy-Vee being so high, it's...
But
yeah.
it's more convenient because I think we're pulling right in there.
And they're the only grocery
And we do
store
take,
on
I
that
mean,
end.
Heartland takes a lot more people to Hy-Vee than we do to Cashwise, historically. It's just how it is. I don't know if it's because of the location or
3 grocery stores at one end of town and one at the
one
other
at the
end of
other.
town.
So it makes a
That's
difference.
Big issue.
Mm-hmm.
We don't stop directly in front of the grocery store doors. We are a little further south, down more so towards the liquor store doors, so that we're not in everybody's way. But yeah, it eats time getting through those stop signs in the parking lot to get back out on 20th up to the light and start heading north again.
Aldi's, nothing against Aldi's at all, but the size of the store is a little smaller, and so for someone to spend an hour in there, you probably have more time than you need.
Right.
And there's really no place to sit. There's no benches, there's no,
Right.
so that might be why that Aldi's stop is not as popular there, but
You go by where Aldi's is anyway on your route then?
Mm-hmm.
So it could potentially be a deviated spot if somebody really wanted to go there that you could.
A deviation.
And if we knew we dropped somebody off, we knew we'd need to pick them up again, because obviously they're going to get on and off, at some point, and so.
I'm just concerned if we want to add those other 2 places, which I think are important to do on the north end of town, that we're gonna have to cut more than just Oak Hills.
What two are you saying?
Did you say Ridgeway and Trolloc? Are those
Right.
two?
Yeah.
That you'd add on the,
Right,
once the Boundary Street is done?
right.
You could, Ridgeway and Trolloc could be picked at the same spot.
We are, yep, at that driveway
At one
there.
Sure,
So
it's
it is
just one stop.
One
One
stop.
stop.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
Yeah,
To get both of those, yeah.
right,
I just really think we need to add that.
yeah. And I'm not opposed to that either, because then we go by 3M, so if somebody wanted to deviate and get to 3M, they could get there as well.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
Maybe by doing that.
And the
we
train, while it's annoying, isn't real long, but it does, I know we're counting seconds here, so,
Mm-hmm.
but they aren't, 5 minutes
Right.
runs. I mean, they come
Right.
through pretty
They're
fast.
moving pretty quick, yeah.
How is the whole deviation process working for you?
I mean, in her notes to us, she says that she's, done that on numerous times. And anywhere you see where it says something other than where it says deviate there, those are places where she's deviated to. So those are the stops that she's,
Do we
dropped.
publicize it much?
Well, it's published as a route deviation. So, some people maybe don't understand what that means, but I think once they start using this service, they do, it's explained to them, I really don't want to go to Cashways. I'd really like to go to Runnings. Can you, and as she's driving by Runnings, after she makes the loop up, she can drive. But now we won't be doing that if we're going to be taking a right, a left on County 29 to get to 23rd. We won't be going by Runnings again,
So the deviated spots would only be really where you're driving.
Well,
by
Runnings
anyway.
is right there. I mean, I'm not quite,
Right, so
out
if
at
somebody
Cashwise.
wanted to get to Runnings, they'd have to get off at the Cashway stop. They were
which is still,
a block and a half
yeah,
or 2
not
blocks.
very far.
Right. Yeah, but now we were driving by that driveway,
Yeah.
when we were turning on County 29.
Yeah.
But now we won't be doing that. But, if they wanted to walk from the Jehovah's Witness Church to Runnings, they could do that, or, but.
Where did the new 13 Boundary Street hook into? Is that directly across from the road by the Star Keller?
Yes.
Yes, yep.
So you wouldn't be at that corner. where
Oh,
the
that's
Jehovah-
true. You'd go
You'd be at the
further.
other corner,
Mm-hmm.
so it had to be further away. But you're stopping at Cashwise. That's plenty close.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and eliminate the Oak Hill stop for sure, and then we can visit more about the other stops in future meetings.
Well, I think we need to know though for the route for
Berta.
Berta.
Yeah.
If she's gonna be putting that in for
Right.
next year. So I do wonder if we want to consider the Aldi's taking it off of there and just doing it as a deviation if she can, if somebody wants to go there.
I'd be fine with that. 'Cause
Is
you're
it-
I
already
think
going
that makes
way.
sense as well.
Yeah.
Just the Aldi, right? Not Cashwise?
Yeah, just the Aldi one,
Okay.
yeah.
Aldi on demand.
We can do that. Any other discussion about anything else that anyone has heard, or does anyone have any further?
Has there been any comment of the hour, the taking an hour to get around? Have people complained about that or thought it was fine, or?
Some of the folks have taken the bus and they've gotten on at their stop and rode the entire route and said, oh, it's way too long. And I said to the one lady, I said, well, that's because you rode the entire route. If you got off at some point, it would only be like a half an hour and then it'd be a half hour home again, and it was hard for her to understand that, but if you're going to ride the route and ride the whole thing, an hour is a long time. But again, most people are going to get off at some point and then get on again. So, that's what I've heard anyways. I'm not sure. Have you heard any thing?
A lot of word of mouth. People that ride it, and they always say that I need to let so and so know about this. They would use it. We have people walking to the stops in these neighborhoods, especially the Sunset Stop. I think there's a couple families, a block or two down the street on Hollywood that are walking to Sunset to get on the bus. Same with downtown. It's attracting from,
And Sarah is real good about letting people know, so if they get out at the downtown stop and want to go to the library, they'll say, oh, I gotta walk back to the library, or to the downtown stop. She'll say, no, just walk to Emerson. It's only a block up the street, so she's kind of helped people kind of understand that too, She's done a lot of PR work with it and kind of wants to do a lot more. She wants to go and visit with people more, to get the word out. She really wants to see the success of it, so, which is great. Because Nate and I told her almost from the start that it was basically her route. She was going to be in charge of promoting it and getting it, and taking it on her own, and she really has done that, and done a very good job, so.
And she feels people have been very positive about
Right.
the Herman route.
Yeah. I've heard a few people say that somebody said, well, the bus never has anyone on it, but, they always, you're going to have that. I mean,
the rec center put us on notice on their Facebook page the other day, wondering why they weren't on the route. So touch base with them and let them know that it's a work in progress yet.
and the police department shared our post as well, so on Monday when it was snowy, they said maybe take the Herman if you're afraid to drive in the snow, so,
Oh, that was good.
yeah.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool, so. Otherwise, have you had any feedback, Chris, from constituents or any?
I know you said, Pat, that MnDOT was impressed with how it's going so far. That the numbers that we've been getting after, a month and a half, it took, Marshall, about a year to get to that point.
To get to that point,
Was
yeah.
their comparison. So they've been pleased, even though it may seem like the numbers are small. They've been pleased with how it's starting out.
Yeah.
I still hear people talking about that, they're gonna hop on and try it, see where
Right.
it goes,
Right.
that kind of thing.
And we haven't had a whole lot of for a while we were getting the Heartland was going away. That has kind of dissipated, thank goodness, because we, for a while that was the scuttlebutt that we were not going to be in existence anymore. It was just going to be the Herman, and so we, but yeah. Do we want to set a meeting date for next month? I know December gets a little crazy. If we're looking in December, either be the 14th or 21st.
14th, I'll be gone.
You're gone, okay.
Two.
Yeah, that's right. How about the 21st? We're a little close to Christmas, but we've usually kept these meetings under an hour, so
I'd be fine with that.
work for everyone.
Fine.
We, South Country Health's got a strategic planning session going that day from 1 to 4:30, and it's down in Owatonna.
We know
so-
Owatonna, so 10 to 11 wouldn't work for you.
Okay.
Okay. So then we're back to either the 14th or 21st, and Scott wouldn't be able to join us either day.
Yep.
Either day work better for people than the other, or?
Anything other than Wednesday mornings.
You don't like 10 to 11?
Well, hospital doesn't like
Oh.
it because I'm leaving in the middle of my volunteer hours.
Oh. Should we just say the 14th then from 10 to 11? Is that okay with everyone, or
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
for you?
Yep.
Okay. And
And see how the new hours are going then.
yeah, we
Maybe
should
that
have
for a
a
couple weeks,
week under
hopefully.
our belt, and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Do we want to call the meeting adjourned? First and second?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
First and second, adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.